Right, let's talk about this collective, these social justice warriors, and their equally asinine counterparts. The social justice warrior as an archetype is a mindless, irrational crybaby who cannot engage socio-politics intellectually and whose perceptions are incongruous both with reality and with common sense. They are senselessly and emotionally invested in one set of beliefs and cannot reconcile their worldview with the reality of the world around them. The anti-social justice warrior as an archetype is a mindless, irrational crybaby who cannot engage socio-politics at an intellectual level, and whose perceptions are incongruous, both with reality and with level-headedness. They are as well senselessly and emotionally invested in one set of beliefs, and cannot reconcile their worldview with the reality of the world around them. You will find social justice warriors around YouTube channels like Feminist Frequency, cancerous far-left propaganda machines like BuzzFeed, and irrational sex-crazed internet personalities like Lacey Green, although she is rumored to have changed her stripes. Now, anti-social justice warriors, on the other hand, breed like cockroaches around such channels as Black Pigeon Speaks, Stephen Molyneux, Paul Joseph Watson, Sargon of Akkad, Mark Dice, Red Pill Philosophy, No Bullshit, etc. Not necessarily because Mark Dice, for example, is an anti-SJW moron, but because he produces the kind of content which will attract anti-SJW morons. That is, Trump cheerleading and a one-sided bashing of liberals. To the anti-SJW imbecile, Mark Dice is merely a reflection point in their echo chamber of foolishness. You see, the problem is not with liberalism or conservatism. The problem is stupid people who align themselves with either side because they cannot stand the reality of this world from an unbiased perspective. Reality is not predictable enough for their small minds and doesn't lend itself to the stereotypes these people need to reference internally for their own cognition. Now, remember that both the liberal and the conservative parties are two wings of the very same bird, and their agendas are the same: collectivism. When it's appropriate for the US government to use one set of ideals as a socio-political battering ram against the poorly fortified minds of many of its citizens, it does. Example, the Dixie Chicks. Remember what happened to the Dixie Chicks after they expressed their disapproval of the Iraq War, right? Conservatives campaigned and petitioned against the girl group until they were forced out of the music industry completely. The girls were shut down and the Iraq War commenced to the backdrop of conservative cheers. Those girls' careers were ruined by conservative nutjobs in the same way that liberal nutjobs are destroying their dissenters' careers today. The very purpose SJWs and anti-SJWs serve is that of a support structure for the establishment and its objectives. They assist significantly in keeping a country shrouded in conflict as the government's agenda moves on. The establishment facilitates the foundation of fools who will support it in its agendas, and the way to do that is simple, as it always has been: the media. Remember that the LGBT movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, Planned Parenthood, etc. did not arise on their own. They were created, then advertised by media sources until their very existence could not be denied by the common man. Nobody gave a damn about mentally ill men who desired to be women or who desired to insert themselves into the rectums of other men until the media started to advertise them and to covertly push their legitimization. A quick YouTube search for Black Lives Matter yields only unfavorable results for them. There is quite prevalently a lack of support for the organization. This is due simply to the fact that Black Lives Matter is quite perceptibly nonsensical and indefensible even to the average Joe. Black Lives Matter is a matter of discussion only because the likes of George Soros create and fund such organizations and have their mainstream media prostitutes advertise them to bring these organizations into the foreground of the socio-political landscape. The establishment makes use of SJWs and anti-SJWs because these people quite frankly are stupid. They are tribalistic individuals who lack the critical thinking skills to make research-based and fact-driven decisions, and whose lack of intelligence leads them to seek the affirmation of their biases through their self-encapsulation of echo chambers of their own irrational sentiments. Anti-SJWs seek validation from crackpots like Rage After Storm and Stephen Molyneux, while SJWs fester around crackpot fermentation devices like BuzzFeed and WatchCut Video, because they possess not the ability to form arguments of their own in support of their unjustifiable philosophies. These kinds of people can be found in any particular field of interest or organization. For example, these Conor McGregor fans, a comparatively foolish bunch. Perhaps they do not represent the majority of Conor McGregor fans, but they're the dumbest, the loudest, and quite easily the most destructive. Imagine what happens when such people become politically inclined.
Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! Wait, come here. Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Don't trample people, don't you?
As said, these sorts of idiots aren't exclusive to the liberals nor to the conservatives, and they aren't exclusive to atheists or religious nutjobs. They'll go wherever their predispositions take them, and they'll bring their stupidity with them, bashing anything or anyone who doesn't align with their narrow-sighted perspectives of the world.
Porn detracts from your ability to see normal women as beautiful. There is also a promotion of misgeneration. BBC is glorified, and white men are brainwashed to think that white women only want huge black penises, and this produces a sense of inferiority for many white men. And this is why we have so many literal cucks.
Oh no, white men shouldn't watch porn because large black penises will upset them. This is beyond ridiculous. You do not look to such people as a support structure for your beliefs unless your brain fails you on a daily basis. You need only see the kinds of opinions expressed by the supporters of these whack jobs to see how the minds of such people function. Take this video for example, where a former member of Stephen Molyneux's cult over at Freedom Domain Radio spoke out against the cultic environment and the fact that Molyneux was saying to his followers that they needed to sever ties with their families simply for not agreeing with Molyneux's irrational political ideologies. Many of these kids wind up doing just that and end up homeless and even suicidal. Yeah, kids have actually killed themselves because of Stephen Molyneux, who deliberately targets impressionable little children and brainwashes them into his cult, where he pumps racist, white supremacist, anti-black, woman-hating, anarcho-capitalist propaganda into the minds of these children and coaxes them into severing ties with family and friends.
And that those in your life, not in the news, those in your life, who advocate and praise you getting shot. What are you going to do with those people? Should I be shot? When they drag me away and throw me in a pit of anal rape. Do you support the use of violence against me? Do you support me being shot? You don't keep people in your life who want you shot. You don't hang with people who want you shot. You don't go to dinner parties with people who want you shot. Do you understand? You don't go to Thanksgiving dinner with people who want you thrown in jail. You don't go on little shopping excursions with a mother who wants you shot, who advocate the use of violence, not in the abstract, but against you.
Yeah, this is what we're dealing with, folks. Stephen Molyneux is naught but a psychopathic cult leader with a YouTube channel. But he's a psychopathic cult leader whose YouTube channel has a large following of gullible, easily misled, narrow-minded juveniles who mimic his peripheral cognitive idiosyncrasies inanely and parrot his mannerisms awkwardly so as to convey clearly to the world the fact that they are beyond redemption. The internet is littered with horror stories about this evil, deceitful, manipulative conman, but nearly anyone who speaks out about it is swamped by Molyneux's angry, racist bunch of irrational anti-SJW imbeciles who shower the video with dislikes and spew vitriol in the comment section. So severely distasteful are they that many feel they are forced to disable the comment sections of the videos which shed light on the dark and moldy world of the anti-SJW moron and his or her god. These mindless fools deserve to suffer the consequences of their fallacies and the torturous enslavement which follows their willful naivety. But what about everyone else? You see, like it or not, you're in the same boat with these people, and when they start poking holes through it, you'll sink with them. So it's in your best interest to counter the ground covered by these fools with something productive, something which makes strides in remedying the harmful effects of these people's campaigns and allegiances. If it were possible to let these useful idiots rot alone in the fields of their ill-conceived desires, I'd encourage people to leave them to their devices and let them burn their own world down. But they do not live in a world whose fate isn't tied to yours, so you need to do what's right when you can and educate yourself alongside others while you can. You cannot allow a loud minority of fools to decide your fate. People have been doing that for far too long and have only ever suffered for it.